calendar has turned to 2025. Boilermaker basketball is in full swing. The men's team is currently 11-4 overall and 3-1 in Big Ten play after yesterday's wire-to-wire 79-61 win over Northwestern. The Boilermakers will take on a couple of foes this week. First, it'll be Rutgers on Thursday night in New Jersey. That'll be a 6 o'clock start Eastern time. And then on Sunday, the Nebraska Cornhuskers come to Mackey for a noon tip-off. The women's team is 7-7 right now, 0-3 in conference play. 6 of Purdue's 7 losses have come to top 25 opponents. And the Boilermakers will have another test tomorrow night when number 1 UCLA comes to Mackey Arena for a 7 p.m. tip. Good evening, everybody, from Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. It is Purdue Basketball Live. We're going to be talking with head coach Matt Painter in the first half of the show. Katie Geralds will join us in half number 2. You can follow along on Purdue Athletics sites at Facebook, X, and YouTube. And if you've got questions or if you just want to let us know where you're watching, please do so when you have the opportunity. And we will be back with head coach Matt Painter right after this. This is Boilermaker Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. And this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Braden Smith on the drive.
Well, good job by Leach getting back in front of Smith.
Smith fading away and hitting.
He's playing at the best pace that I've seen him play his career, Dave. He was coming in today. Love seeing his presence here in Mackey.
It's Colvin into the game for the first time for the Boilers. Lawyer on the drive and the foul. Here's Smith driving on Barnheiser. Tries to get him in the air, eventually does. Now drops it off to First, who throws it down. Barnheiser.
Ooh, Barnheiser's mouth got busted. He's got a retainer because he lost a couple teeth. You know, just to add to what, oh man, that's gonna drive Coach Collins crazy. This comes from Martinelli. Looks like he's ready. He gets just a brush screen. It wasn't really a big screen. He's not gonna back down though.
Three out of the corner, C.J. Cox.
Barely even got shots up on the rim.
That's what's impressed me so much. Purdue's been great on the offensive end, but it's this end of the court. It's that defensive end. As Sheravino loses it on the way up. Now Colvin the other way, and Toffman-Red throws it down.
Beats almost everyone up the floor. The hustle.
During COVID, he was not able to see him play live. Pretty amazing what he has become. A very lightly recruited player. That one's blocked away by Colvin, showing off his athleticism.
Looked like Barnheiser was wide open. All of a sudden, number 5 comes in. Not this time, Brooks.
You understand why Colvin this year, just the false teeth that he had put in.
Oh, man.
And Braden Smith continuing to kick the cats in the mouth. He will go to the free throw line.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors, boiler up. We are joined by head coach Matt Painter. And Matt, first of all, Happy New Year to you. Off to a good start with a couple of victories here.
Yep, thank you. Obviously, we took a couple on the chin before Christmas and now been able to win 3 straight. And really liked our effort yesterday. I thought our defense was much better. Probably the best we've played defensively all season and around the basketball. I thought we played really well in the second half. Against Minnesota, even though defensively we gave up some layups in the first half, we still held them to 27, 28 points in the first half. So we've made some strides there in our first, really our third and fourth Big Ten games, but our first Big Ten game since the break. And you just got to build on it. I mean, we all know it's tougher on the road, but when we take care of the basketball and we defend, we definitely give ourselves a better chance.
Yeah, you hear coaches all the time talk about being connected. I thought your defense was very connected yesterday. Good team effort, and it didn't matter. It seemed like who was in the game. Everybody who came in was able to do their job.
Yeah, that's a good point because they had 2 guys averaging 20 points, and you know, for having a guy that plays like a 2-3, 3-4. in Barnheiser and Martinelli. They're really, really tough covers. Both those guys have improved at Northwestern and really worked hard, and they got great bodies, and they can handle the basketball, and they can shoot. And we really just wanted to load up. We wanted them to see 10 eyes. We wanted to be in front of them. We wanted to have our help set. And then we had to rotate when they skipped the basketball or moved the basketball quickly. And but that's tough because not very many people in college basketball so far has been able to shut them down, but our guys were able to do it.
I have to admit, Matt, I was looking at the tunnel constantly during the game yesterday because I kept waiting for Boo Buie to run down the tunnel.
Yeah.
It seemed like, how can you play Northwestern
Yeah.
and not play against Boo Buie?
Right. Like he had ran down the tunnel, and I had ran up the tunnel. I was happy to see his ass leave.
I think he and Doug Altenberger may be the only guys that ever had 25 years of eligibility in the Big Ten. Again, getting off to a good start, but I think you were able to keep the momentum. And then the offense, I think, was very efficient throughout the day as well.
Yeah, you know, when we've taken care of the basketball, we've been productive. And I think if you go back and look at those high turnover games, like those are the games that you're going to have to go back and reflect and say, hey, if we had to play these teams again, you know, how would we fare? And the only way to handle it is by being efficient offensively and handling pressure. Like we had 3 turnovers against Alabama, we had 3 turnovers against Minnesota, and that was on the road. So those are very, very positive, high-level games where we've taken care of the basketball. And other night we didn't do a great job like that, but it was good enough. When we can hover around 8 to 12 turnovers, we normally give ourselves a chance. Then we out-rebound our opponent. In that balance of fewer turnovers, more rebounds, we've been very, very successful. We've won 25 straight games when those two things have collided. But I think the efficiency from an offensive standpoint, it obviously helps when the ball goes in, but you're also creating better shots and you're taking better shots. So anytime you can do that, where we get into trouble is when we get no shot.
Right,
and you know, when you absolutely don't give obviously you're not asking them to take a bad shot, but when you get low clock, sometimes you get stuck. You just can't have those pick sixes where they go to the other end and score the ball.
You know, it's always been gratifying to watch your teams and understand, and you talk about it all the time, that winning has to be the most important thing. And guys are going to have different roles over time, and everybody wants to play more. It's human nature. And you look at a guy like Caleb First, who has seen his playing time up and down for the time he's been here, and now back in the starting lineup and probably playing some of his best basketball right now.
Yeah, he was, I think coming back from break, like getting into the Toledo game, and you looked at, and I talked about looking at his box score and just looking at it in general, nothing like jumps off the chart at you, but you could just see when he was out there playing, we were a better team with him on the court. And then getting into Minnesota, I just didn't think in the Toledo game we were very quick to the ball. We gave up a lot of offensive rebounds. We just didn't have a physical presence, and we've been playing smaller. And before, when we weren't starting smaller, we kept finishing in that way. Mm-hmm. So if you're finishing that way, you end up kind of morphing into starting that way. Then we started that way, and we played some people that were pretty physical, and we didn't make shots. We didn't take care of the basketball. Rebounding was tough, and that was the one thing after the Toledo game. It just made sense the way he played and the physical presence he can bring us to get him into that lineup. Then he matches up with Dawson Garcia, does a great job there. Even though he gets 20, he still made him earn that.
Right.
Then he matches up with Martinelli, did a very good job there. Cam came in and was able to guard him also, and and that's what we need. And he's really, really played well here these last 3 games.
The other guy that you moved into the starting lineup was C.J. Cox, and everybody has a role to play, and I thought he really hit the boards yesterday as much as anything else. 8 rebounds out of C.J. Cox is a bonus.
Yeah, no question. Obviously, he had 12 for the game in terms of points, but, being able to get 8 rebounds from one of your guards is huge. But I thought he did a good job in the Minnesota game, even though I don't think he even scored. But guarding Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is their second leading scorer, prolific shooter. This is his 4th or 5th year in college, and he's shot over 40% every year. Very few people do that. Very, very good at shooting the basketball, and he didn't really get a good look until like the last 8-10 minutes of the game, after we were in a pretty good position. But no, he's really played well. But the other guys, I thought Miles and Jakari really played well in the last couple games. And sometimes they're going to get more opportunities, and other times you're not. That's just kind of the way it is. But you got to be able to impact the game. You got to be able to guard your man. You got to be able to rebound the basketball. You got to be able to share the basketball. But I thought all those guys did some good things. Then I thought Cam in the Minnesota game. It's always a good sign when guys don't start and then you get a positive response from because everybody wants to start. It's not the most important thing, but you put in a lot of time and effort to get yourself in that position, and then to see somebody now, have to come off the bench. He comes out and plays 15 minutes in the game, but he gets 6 rebounds for us. He hits a big 3 in the second half and gets us going. And, that's what you need to see on your team, because when you can have that cohesion, you can have everybody pulling the rope in the same direction. That's when you're going to win some big games and really get on a good run.
All right, we'll have more with the coach after this. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Great pass to first, underneath, and the Boilermakers take the lead. Braden Smith, he's been doing this forever. Zipping this one underneath for first, 2-point Purdue lead. Off and Wren picks up his dribble. Shot clock down to 5. It's Harris with 4. Smith lets it fire. This is for 1,000 points, and there it is. And here is the shot here from Smith with the shot clock about to expire.
Right over the top of Femi Odekale. Wingspan about 7 feet. Acted like he didn't even see it. That's bottoms. Purdue can make to free up Braden Smith's scoring.
Cox off the glass. No. Kaufman ran the offensive rebound. Put back in one.
Rebound. That's his 3rd of the game, I believe, and then just puts a shoulder into Parker Fox.
Lawyer with a shot clock at 7. And my goodness, Lawyer, he drew some contact. He wanted a whistle. It was not blown, but still Lawyer makes another difficult shot.
Second time Purdue has bailed someone out on the defensive side, but Fletcher Lawyer, you can't guard that. It's about as good as you can get. Has Odekale maybe touch earth right there. Go get that young man. Step back on you.
Smith, the right wing 3. Knocks it down, the largest lead for Purdue tonight.
Nasty, but good patience, good feet. And then Braden Smith. Not getting it easier for Minnesota. You thought they had fun with Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith. Bruce Thornton coming to town. And John Mobley Jr. Everyone counts in this league. When I was playing, I don't think there was always a game where you could kind of mark on the calendar. Parker Fox still playing hard. The Oilers don't take any win for no way.
Oh my! When it's your night, that goes in.
We're coming to you live from Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving Greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports 365 days a year. Mark your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. Braden Smith, Matt, was the preseason Big Ten Player of the Year. He has never been Player of the Week until this week. He was just named today as the Player of the Week in his last 3 games, averaging better than 25 points and almost 10 assists a game. Braden Smith just seems to get better and better and better every season.
Yeah, he's really played well. He's had a good year. It has a lot of responsibility. The ball's in his hands a lot. People are, come at him and try to take the ball out of his hands, try to deny him, try to pressure him, run people at him. You see a lot of different looks in ball screen action, but he's done a great job for us. And I think at times, I think it's hard for him because when people don't do those things, now he can really dictate the game. And when he can get the ball out of his hands when they start to pressure, now you're going to be in positions. You see it a lot with him and Trey Kaufman, where he can make those passes and that ball gets centered around the nail at the free throw line. And then all of a sudden we're right into a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2, and now Trey just has to take his time right there and kind of pause and just make the right decision, whether he drives it, shoots it, passes it, reverses it. But he's done a great job, and he's done a much better job of defending and just staying on the court and and being aware and on both ends. But he does a little bit of everything for us. He distributes, he scores. That's the one thing we've really pushed for him to look for his shot. Whether that's just dribbling up the court, playing through ball screens, whatever it might be. Just keep looking to be aggressive and score the basketball, because he instinctually is a passer. But if the defense thinks you're passing at all times, now you're going to get into a rut. But when you're that dual threat of, I got my pull up, I can get all the way to the basket, I can shoot threes, I can pass it, I can distribute. He can keep the ball on a string, and now that's what we want. We want to keep the ball in his hands. He's going to have a little bit more turnovers than other people, just because the volume, just because of his usage.
The mid-range game seems to be a lost art in basketball at all levels. Guys can either shoot threes or dunks.
Right.
The other thing, you don't see a lot of guys that can pocket pass the way that Braden Smith can. That's a really effective pass if you can do it well.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult. And he'll do it. He'll throw it between his legs, and he'll make those one-handed, pocket passes right there on the run between people. And when you go back and watch it on clips, it's a very small window at times. And he gets that ball in there, and he knows if it's going to get stopped, it's normally going to get kicked. So it's not going to be a turnover. You're going to get the ball back. You're going to take it out of bounds. Kind of got to learn when people get lowered to try to, to get that hook pass over the top. If your hands are low, go high. If your hands are high, go low. But it's a split second. You don't have a whole lot of time, but him and Trey have a really good connection there. And it just depends. It depends on how they're going to defend. A lot of people will come back and say, well, why didn't you guys go and have him shoot more threes? He was shooting threes in this game, and it's like, there is another team out there, and you can only coach one team. And so if they're going to get, heavy on their pressure and they're going to blitz ball screens or switch ball screens, you're not going to be able to get those pocket passes all the time. So we work on it. We try to create that gap to be able to get in there. But Braden does a great job in just kind of reading things and manipulating the defense.
We know that Daniel Jacobson will not play again this season after hurting his leg early on. Where is he? Is his rehab coming along the way you would want him to?
Yeah, he's fine. It's nothing that we're pushing on because he's not going to play. So just taking everything normal and going, but he'll be fine for next year.
Will he be able to participate in the summer, or when will he be at a full go?
I would think he'll be able to participate in the summer. Yeah, he really could probably push to get to the end of the year, but whenever you deal with something like that, it's better just to wait.
Probably typical in these shows that we go about half of it before we even mention Fletcher Lawyer, but he's one of those guys that you just kind of almost take for granted because he does things so smoothly on the offensive end and has really turned out to be a good all-around basketball player.
Yeah, he's very intelligent, understands the game. Has put a lot of time into the game. Obviously grew up with his dad as a coach, and brother played at Michigan State and played at Davidson. So, he comes from an athletic family and just knows what's going on, pays attention. I'd be surprised if he's not a coach someday, but he shot 50% from three. He's done a great job of reading situations and scenarios. He's very good when he has an angle, and whether that's off a closeout or whether that's off, just some dribble handoff action, whatever the situation might be. When he creates that angle and he gets his guy on his hip, he really knows how to play and do stuff. But his ability to shoot is what gets people to crowd him, and he's gotten good at his shot fake and that side dribble. He'll shot fake, they'll fly by, he sides dribble, and he still shoots that three. So just having a weapon like that with somebody, you got to stay with him at all times, really creates space for Braden and obviously creates space for Trey, on the low block.
The other thing I wanted to mention before the break, and it's something we never take for granted here, is the crowd support at Mackey. The students have been on break for the Toledo game and then yesterday for Northwestern. The place was packed, and again, that's something you've built over your time here, but you really have to appreciate what the fan support is here.
No question about it, especially when the weather's poor, and the crowd still comes out. We don't have students, the weather's bad, and we still have a sellout and have the people there. And it's something that I always push on, with our guys. It's just saying, just because they're there, they don't give us points. You have to play well, and then they'll give us points. You got to do your job. You got to give them a reason to cheer. You got to give them a reason to be loud. But they'll do their part. They've proven that, and it's definitely an advantage. If you go and look at the record for however long it's been, 1967, if you go look at the record, whoever the head coach is, been very, very successful, and then that's been the common denominator, has been the fans.
All right, we've got one more segment with Coach Painter. We'll have that after this 2-minute break. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Braden Smith launches from three and drains it.
Outside, got the good swing, but just didn't hit it.
Simmons still on the floor at that bum ankle. Draws a crowd, and they turn it over.
Suddenly the hoops start coming, and it makes a difference in the game.
See how the offense looks. That's a good look into Kaufman Wren for the jam. Off the mark, he's still trying to find his range. Hasn't had a 3 in 2 games. Lawyer leans in, makes his shot. Try and do it the hard way.
But, you know, you got some other guys making plays now for them. It's not all Smith. You got Kaufman Wren on the bench with fouls.
Toledo remains in striking distance. Lawyer again for 3. Got it. That's got to feel good for Fletcher Lawyer.
Fletcher Lawyer can make shots, but he's not the best on defense, and they took advantage who got the ISO and got the points.
Nice feed inside to Kaufman Wren. Another assist. Very difficult to beat. Got 8 to shoot, a minute gone by in his second half. Simmons lost it. Lawyer's got it. And an 8-0 run right now for Toledo. Had a lot of success getting it to the rack. There's Kaufman Wren around the seal for the layup. Kaufman Wren on the switch now. Isolated. Kaufman Wren for 2, and he's fired up. For that junkyard dog sometimes, Coach.
Yeah, you got to like it. This is physical. There, he's just backing in. He's being patient, taking the count.
Here comes Purdue. Smith, transition 3, buries it. And Purdue and C.J. Cox hustle for the rebound. Smith in transition from the wing. Got another one. 25 for Smith.
Great.
First is there for another rebound. First is having a whale of a game. Smith, alley-oop. Yes.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. Purdue Basketball is brought to you in part by Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit union for Purdue fans. No show next week because both of us are going to be heading out to the West Coast. The Boilermaker women and men playing next week at Oregon and Washington. So our next Purdue Basketball Live show will be February 20th. We will have January 20th, 2 weeks from today. We will have a Purdue football live show coming up with Barry Odom, the new head coach. That'll be February 6th right here in Walk-Ons, and we'll remind you about that in the coming weeks. But again, Purdue basketball live 2 weeks from tonight, and then Purdue football live on February 6th. All right, 2 games this week, and Matt, let's talk about them, starting with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and they've got 2 really good freshmen in Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper.
Yeah, both of them fabulous. We had both of them in USA basketball, so known about them for a long time. Obviously, Dylan Harper's dad, Ron Harper, was a great NBA player, played at Miami of Ohio. James Bailey, Ace Bailey's dad, was a lottery pick in the draft. He played at Rutgers. Obviously, Dylan's brother played at Rutgers, who all Purdue fans know from hitting that half-court shot.
Yeah.
And so had to bring it up, right?
Had to bring it up.
Just exercise your demons there. But no, they're both fabulous players. And Dylan Harper's left-handed. He can go either way, averages around 22 points. Very dynamic. Is going to be a great player in the NBA. Will be a lottery pick next year. Ace Bailey is kind of like a Kevin Durant, Glenn Robinson. You know, he's 6'9", 6'10", shoots pull-ups, can play in the, kind of that mid-post, but is really just a big guard. Can score in a lot of different ways. If you watched the Indiana game other day, when Dylan Harper didn't play because he was sick, he had 39 points. So he just did a little bit of everything and scored in just unbelievable. Guys that can make those type of pull-ups at that age and do the things that they can do from a skill standpoint. A lot of times guys hit 6'9", athletic, they – you just don't see the total package where they have ball skills, they can shoot like that. But both of those guys just have a very, very bright future, and they can carry their team on their back. They can get it going and just win the game single-handedly by scoring 30 to 40 points. And we're going to have our hands full. And they got a lot of other good players besides that. And we all know Coach Peichel and defensively rebounding, that UConn style where he was an assistant to Coach Calhoun. So. It's going to be a battle for us. They're getting ready to play here in about 5 minutes, so that's where I'm heading right now to go watch Rutgers and Wisconsin. But it's a great environment in there. We know it's going to be a very competitive game.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the environment. Every team seems to play better at home, but they're a team in particular that really ramps up on their home floor.
Yeah, they've been much better at home, and I think that just kind of comes with kind of figuring it out, kind of the youthfulness when you have as much responsibility as those two guys go and kind of get some role definition from the other guys. But, they're a scary team. That they can beat anybody in the country on their home court. And I think they've proven that, even before they've had these two, talented young players.
Then you're back home on Sunday to take on Nebraska. First of all, a noon tip-off. Does that change your pregame meal?
No. It changes. We don't shoot around when it's that early. So we watch film about 4 hours before, then we have our pregame meal after that. So we just don't shoot around when it's that early. The other day we had it at 2. So we watch film at 8:45. We practice. We had to shoot around at 9. Then we have our pregame at 10. We always do it 4 hours before. Yeah. We always eat. We don't always practice.
All right. But I mean, does the actual meal itself change? You eat
that's breakfast.
A little bit different for
but
breakfast.
They like the flip-flop. They like having breakfast at night too. So they normally, if they play hard and they go to class, they
let them eat what they want.
They get
right?
what they want.
There you go.
Yeah, they get what they want.
I ask football coaches all the time, what's their favorite time to play? Most of them want to play at noon. They want to play right off the bat. What about you?
Same. Early as possible.
I'm right there with you.
I hate sitting there the whole day. I don't mind the games. I don't like the lead up to a game.
Yeah. Nebraska has its own trio of Warriors and a lot of great players, but Bryce Williams, Juwan Gary, Connor Esigian, the three that really jump off the page at you.
Yeah, no doubt. They've, obviously Juwan Gary came from Alabama, been there a couple years. Bryce Williams came from Charlotte, been there a couple years. Esigian from Indiana, played at Wisconsin, led him in scoring 2 years ago. But Esigian's really helped them with his ability to shoot. Bryce Williams is having the best year. He's leading them in scoring. Very talented, good positional size, can score the ball. Juwan Gary is a little bit of everything, kind of that combo forward at a 3-4, can rebound, can score, can drive the ball. Rink Mast is out for the season. He really gave us trouble last year with his ability to stretch the defense, but he's pieced it together, man. They have one of the best defenses in the country. They were more of a efficient offensive team last year. They're a good offensive team this year, but they weren't quite as good defensively last year, even though they gave us problems. Now they're one of the elite defensive teams. I watched their game against UCLA the other day, and UCLA's a really good defensive team, and they did a great job. They did a great job of keeping him out of the paint, and he really makes it hard on people and really makes you, work towards scoring over, their defense.
Last question. We're right about at the halfway point of the regular season. Big Ten season's still early, but if you look at the regular season, are you where you thought you'd be with this basketball team halfway through?
Yeah, I'm really pleased. I think, we had a couple tough games there. The only one you really went back, obviously Marquette and Auburn. They really weren't, and we weren't in a position to win the game. And so that's what I always tell them about winning the Big Ten. People just talk about winning the Big Ten, and you got to put yourself in position to win the Big Ten. Well, a single game's no different. You got to put yourself in position to win it and get down the stretch, and then be able to make plays in the last 5 minutes to do it. But the Texas A&M game's the one that we'd like to have back.
Yeah.
That's the one, and doesn't mean they didn't earn it because they did. But that was just a game where missed some shots, didn't take care of the basketball, had some careless turnovers that you wanted back. But the Penn State game, going on the road for the first time, they ambushed us. That was probably the most disappointing, the 24 turnovers there, but you have to give them credit. They have a great system. They play hard. They have a lot of older guys that are experienced, and we just kind of showed ourselves after having a couple games of 3 turnovers. You have 24 turnovers in that game. But the consistency of everything and how your resume reads, we've had no bad losses. We've had a great win against Alabama, a great win against Ole Miss. Obviously, we beat NC State, beat Maryland here, just beat Northwestern, which I think Maryland and Northwestern will find their way in the tournament, and I think they're very good. So we've gotten, in my opinion, we've had 4 games where we've won versus NCAA tournament teams. So you got to build your resume. We've been spoiled. And so when you go undefeated the last 3 non-conference years, you're like, hey, what the hell's wrong? It's just one of those things where we're a team where, and I said it after Auburn, I thought we have a really good team. I said, I don't think we have a great team. I said, hopefully come March, we can get in the tournament and be great. And that's what you want. You want to be able to put yourself in position to win a Big Ten championship and then be able to do it. But that's easier said than done. You got to take care of your home court. You really got to at least split on the road, and that's where we are now. We've won our home games in the Big Ten, and we've split on the road, and so you don't know if 15-5 gets it done. 15-5 got it done by 3 games 2 years ago. 17-3 got it done by 3 games last year, and so like each season's a little bit different. So like we've been 15-3, I think 2 different times and gotten second place, but yet we've won the league at 13-5 before. So when people go around and say, hey, you've won Big Ten championships or whatever, like there's some years when you've gotten second, it's actually better than a Big Ten championship because of your record and what you've done. Just another team was a little bit better than. And the thing that's different is we play 3 teams in an 18-team league twice.
Yeah.
You know, we play 14 people one time, and how that unfolds and when you play and where you play makes a big difference. Sometimes it means nothing, sometimes it hurts you, and sometimes it helps you.
Good luck Thursday night.
All righty. Thank you.
Katie Geralds will join us next. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Arrived crisp and clear in Northwest Indiana, the first marquee matchup of 2010. They're both undefeated. Nice entry for Johnson on the easy stop. He'll shoot the long one and drain it.
He'll put it up and miss. Johnson will get it back and go.
Moore catches and fires. Yes, a three.
Great steal.
And Barlow at the stop. On the drive. He can't cash it, but Grant does on the follow.
West Virginia not able to get the ball into an operating area. They can't make any passes.
And there's a 5-second violation.
5-second call. Robbie Hummel made it happen.
Missoula slashing in and batted away by Johnson. Inside it's Johnson. How he took advantage.
Turnovers have been forced.
Another Dumpson inside it's Johnson. How he took advantage in a big way. Ranked in the top 6. There's Johnson again. It's just too easy.
His feet and roll into the basket.
Keaton Graham with a quick hands all by himself.
Nice man to the corner. Wide open Smith for a 3. Bulls
Himself free.
A clinic put on by the Purdue Boilermakers.
Bouncing in for Johnson. He's just been a man under there.
Smith double shoots a 3. Bullseye.
Hummel trying to heat up.
He'll shoot right wing. Good again.
Johnson right back up.
And there's a lob to Johnson who slams it in
As they
again.
thump West Virginia.
Just imposing their will on the Mountaineers.
77-62.
Back at Walk-Ons, we're a half hour into the show, and only one mistake so far. I'll correct that right off the bat. There is a Purdue Basketball Live show coming up next Monday. Even though the women will be on the way to the West Coast, the men will not leave until Tuesday, so we will be here at 6:30 next week right here at Walk-Ons for Purdue Basketball Live. We're going to have Katie Geralds in just a second, but first, we need to take station identification. Let's pause. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. It's time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Jaden Ivey was having a great season for the Detroit Pistons, but he broke his fibula on January 1st, is out for most of the regular season, if not the entire regular season. Hopefully they will get him back in time for the playoffs if the Pistons can make it. He'd been averaging more than 17 points and 4 assists a game. Zach Edey with the Memphis Grizzlies having an outstanding rookie season, 10.9 points and 7.9 rebounds a game. And a couple of former women's basketball players having good Decembers and seasons in their European leagues. Janae Terry playing in Kosovo, averaging 19.6 points, 13 rebounds, and 7.4 assists a game. And Leisha Petrie in Greece at 17.4 points and 9.2 rebounds. And you got an opportunity to coach both of those players, Katie Geralds. Good to see them have some success away from home.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't know if you saw Abby just hit the buzzer beater
Yep.
game winner over in Australia. 3 kids that we got a chance to coach that are having a lot of success over there right now.
Let's talk about your basketball team, and right now in the midst of one of the most difficult stretches of any team in the country, because Purdue has played so far in the strength of schedule the hardest schedule in the Big Ten and the 10th hardest nationally. There's honor in that, but I know that there's also frustration in that because you'd like to see some results on the court, and it's really tough with the stretch you're in.
Yeah, it's been tough, but outside the Middle Tennessee State game, I think we've talked about this is, one that you maybe think we should have got. The other 6 losses are against top 25 teams, and 2 of them been on the road, and the biggest challenge for us right now is making sure our kids continue to work hard and see growth and our team improving, and then maybe there comes a day and an opportunity where the schedule aligns and we face somebody who's not number 1 in the country. But unique challenge for us tomorrow.
Well, all you have to do is look at the top 10, Katie. Nationally, the top 10 today. UCLA is number 1. We'll see the Bruins tomorrow night. South Carolina is number 2. You saw them down in the on the Thanksgiving tournament. Notre Dame came in here to Mackey Arena. They're number 3. We're going to see USC in a couple weeks in Mackey. They're number 4. Mm-hmm. Texas is 5. LSU 6. UConn is 7. Maryland is number 8. That was your Big Ten opener. We're going to see Ohio State, which is number 9 in February, and Columbus, and then Oklahoma is number 10. So you've already played 3 of the teams in the top 10. You've got 3 more to go. And as you mentioned, 6 of the 7 losses that you've had are teams that are ranked in the top 25.
Yeah. I think one thing for us right now is just perspective. It's hard to look at the schedule and see 7-7 and not see growth, right, because we are losing. We played Maryland. It's a 4-point game with 2.5 minutes to go. They're undefeated. It was an 8-point game with 13 minutes to go at Iowa, and we didn't finish the third quarter. And we go from down 8 to down 21. Just didn't finish the quarter. We were able to win the second half at Michigan State after a really, really crappy, just a terrible performance in the first half. But we responded in the second half. So you just like perspective, and we obviously have to do better. We go to Michigan State. They have 2 losses on the year, and we walk into their gym and after their 2 losses, and they just came out swinging, and we just fell down and didn't get up and didn't really have an opportunity to catch our breath until halftime. Iowa, we hadn't had. I don't think anybody in our team had ever played in front of 15,000 people, and just perspective about those things. And our kids have continued to work, and we've had some opportunities for days to get better, and obviously the challenge is to try to beat UCLA tomorrow, but it's also a game within itself of like, are we improving, are we getting better on what we need to do as a group.
And I know it's hard. You've got a lot of competitors, and you're probably one of the most competitive people I've been around. You understand that, and you say that, and you take it in intellectually, but it's still hard to process.
Keep saying it to yourself, right?
Yeah, that's right. You just can't. You have to keep saying that and believing it.
Yeah, and just honestly, that's probably the toughest part right now is just getting our group to stay with that and continue to believe that. We understand the limitations and the challenges before us. It is what it is, and there's no way to back away from it. We just got to keep putting our head down and continue to work and do the little things that are continue to make Purdue better. And like I said, maybe there comes an opportunity that the stars align and we give ourselves a chance.
What have you seen from your team in terms of their will and their fight? Because we see what we see on the court during games, but you see them in practice, you see them off the court. What's the mood like right now?
Yeah, a team that's worked hard. They've rolled up their sleeves, and they've worked their tails off this ever since the Michigan State game. They've had some players only meeting on themselves. They came up to the office, all 13 of them, and we sat around the conference table, and they kind of like a heart to heart and kind of owned up to a lot of things that were going wrong on the court. And we just told each other like we're going to continue to hold each other accountable. Since that little like players only meeting, I told them like it can only happen once. If we're having a players only meeting again, it's not gonna fix anything. We're not gonna have any progress. But I think we have a collective group that's kind of taken control of where we want to go, where we think we can go. And it's without seeing it. There's still the human nature, right? The losses are piling up, and you know, we do play #1 tomorrow. So, you know, it's just making sure that we stay the course that we think is the right course for us, and really that's all that matters, Tim.
All right, we're talking with Katie Geralds. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. Back after this. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
1 for 10 from 3 coming into this season. Nails her first of the game. Lombard from 3. Back-to-back threes.
On the year, that is unreal.
Purdue will really need that production out of Lombard, stealing it, turning her defense into offense. Easy money bunnies. 2 points for Lombard.
Luton and A-Roll out on the floor at the same time, but take a look at the Lombard steal.
Kendall Purrier going up against Van Sluten right now. Dips that shoulder but can't drop the rock. Lombard, a steal, and 2 more in transition. She can't get that 3 to go, though.
It's a good closeout that time. You saw Purdue that time send 2 to the ball as well.
Swanson with the step back. Just a minute 50 to go.
Yeah, the Spartans have made their last 4 or 5, but check out this move by Swanson.
Just 10 seconds left on the shot clock. The ball in Poole's hands. She finds McCarthy down low. Inside out basketball to Collier for 3. Double.
Check out this pass. Beautiful find, beautiful shot. Collier shooting 40% from 3 so far this season.
One of the best players to come out of the MAC, a transfer from Akron. Petrie from 3, knocks it down.
And if you're Purdue, you want to go quick here before Michigan State gets set back in defense.
Jones left all alone from 3, bang. Purdue was a team that was shooting 67% from the field in the first quarter. That's dropped all the way down to 39%.
To the wire, almost done with this third quarter of action.
Lombard from deep, desperately needed that.
Of course, now this year really having the keys almost to the leadership position, but that's something that she's really started to come into effect.
Layden barely hangs on to it to find Purrier down.
Well, welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. The 2024-25 Purdue basketball season is presented by Purdue Global. Earn a degree you'll be proud of with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults and the preferred online university degree provider of the Guild and Team USA Learning Network. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. The Boilermakers against #1 UCLA tomorrow night. Looking on Facebook, Jeff is checking in from Cape Coral, Florida. Kyle McCall says, go Salukis and Boilermakers. I assume that's a tribute to Southern Illinois. Terry is in Brownsburg. Ira is in Swamico, Wisconsin. Michael Gordon wants Coach Painter to tell Braden Smith to shoot more. I think Braden got a lot of shots yesterday, but he will continue to shoot. And then Michael also added, Katie, any thoughts on recruiting a 7-footer? If you've got a good 7-footer out there, Katie's interested.
Call me. Yeah, absolutely. We've got 6'6" and 6'4" coming in next year, so that's probably as close as that we have out there right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to face some height tomorrow night. The UCLA starting front court, 6'4", 6'4", 6'7", and the 6'7" player is one of the favorites for the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, and she's not just 6'7", right? She moves well. She runs the floor well. She can guard. You know, they're starting to switch 1 through 5 sometimes on ball screens because she can get out in space and sit down. And her rim running is elite. She's, you know, I think she had 20 points in 20 minutes last year against us, and she's just gotten better and better. Had a great game down at Indiana on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, obviously our hands are full, and a lot of NKP are trying to do our best to put them in the best position to have success. And you know, you talk about 2 freshmen that have worked really, really hard for us, NKP and Lana. They're just kind of on an island down there by themselves, as our only true post players. Yeah. And you know, gone against Hannah Stolke and you know, Addie O'Grady and you know, Grace Van Sluten, and you know, they've tasted it, and they're going to get a little bit more taste tomorrow night.
They have, but I'll tell you, I've been impressed, particularly with Kendall, with her ability to stand up, and I thought she's getting a little feisty at one point in the Michigan State game, which you kind of like to see at that point.
Yeah, you love it. You love it. You know, she's not a kid that's going to back down, and at halftime, we talked to our group and just wanted to go out at Michigan State and just find a group that was going to play really, really hard and, get punched and get back up and keep swinging. And I think KP was pretty close to throwing a real punch with that double foul there. But a kid that's not going to back down, and she's continued to learn and grow for us. And just a kid that's hungry to continue to get better.
We remind everybody, Kendall Purrier is a black belt in karate,
She is. Don't mess with
her. Destiny Lombard is a player who right now is leading the Big Ten in steals per game, and she's in the top 25 nationally. She came with a reputation as a defensive player. Now, there are some habits that you've been trying to break her to, that she sometimes will gamble, but she's got great quickness. I think the thing that's been most impressive, though, is what she's given to you offensively.
Yeah, obviously we wanted to get somebody who could be a disruptor on the defensive end, but I think she's shooting 40% from three. Her and Ella are both shooting the ball really well from the perimeter. But Des has some of the quickest hands I've ever seen. Her ability to just get a hand on it. Sometimes, like you said, like it's old tendencies or bad tendencies that will put us in a bad spot. But most of the time, she'll do her best to make up for it.
Jordan Poole has gotten back on the floor since the last time we were here for the radio show, and she's played 4 games coming back from the injury. You've been trying to build her minutes up. What have you seen from Jordan, not only in game time but also in practices?
A kid that's just hungry and eager to learn. And, I think the other day she came up and she's like, Coach, I'm really struggling on the defensive end. Like, so when you get the defensive game plan, can you just give it to me a little bit earlier so I can really lock in and I think that she's just eager, wants to learn, wants to get out there and help us, because she does have a little bit of wiggle to her. I'm not saying she's Braden, but she has that ability to get into the paint and spray things out or drop things off to. But she's just learning on the go, and she didn't have a non-conference to get her feet wet.
Right.
We threw her right into the deep end right away, and she's been challenged, but she's fighting through it, and I think there's gonna come a time when Jordy Poole has a really, really good, successful a career here.
Well, and you look at players who can give you something different and something unique. She does have the ability to create her own shot and to move in the half court, and the ability to do that really helps your half court offense run.
Yeah, because if not, we're trying to manufacture or chase points and run sets to get things open. But Jordy had, like you said, I think she's the only one on our team to really be able to just go outside it. Maybe KP has an opportunity to create her own stuff, but Jordy has it, and the more we can get her out there, the more comfortable she's getting, the more it'll help our ball club.
All right, we'll be back more with Coach Geralds after this. It is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
That's got to be tough, Craig, getting to the school you want to be at and then getting that injury and having to sit out and watch it all going on. But you see the assist there, and you see how it's going to work out for her.
Season making an immediate impact. First 3-point field goal of the game for the Sycamores.
Finnegan, 15 points off the bench as we see another deep shot come down, this time by Jones.
Didn't get as much playing time last season, but some great defense there from the Purdue Boilermakers.
Collier, beautiful steal, tries to get the Boilermakers going. Lombard, bit of speed, tries to get around the corner, fires it to Petrie. Collier, the one who stole it, will be the one that gets the points. If this is the tempo of the game, it probably suits the Boilermakers more.
Well, yeah, Purdue is built for speed. You see there, Destiny Lombard able to finish that one off, starting to heat up here for the Boilers. Yeah, and the Sycamores have been struggling here in this second quarter with finishing at the basket. You see there, Purdue not struggling whatsoever as Reagan Bass is able to finish that one at the cup.
Far is it to that far side, and Lombard not able to get it to go, but Bass will.
Playing the defenses that was given to her and the nice step back and able to finish. They're going to need a couple more of those here today.
McCarthy took the double team. It means all the space is there for Reynolds. Well, you mentioned it, Craig, the physicality we saw in the first half. Didn't speak about it as much because the game kind of opened up, but we're seeing it once again there. And a nice job from Collier on the weak side to get it to fall. Still once again, just causing so many problems inside for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, and I think Katie Geralds has found the answer to that, and that's Reagan Bass as she finishes at the hoop. Well, it's quality possessions. It's taking quality shots. It's not getting loose with the ball, not taking shots you don't want to. Again, you see there a beautiful pass as Petrie's able to finish now.
As you see a replay of it here. Trying to keep it in there, Simpson. She did a nice job, but that's the amazing thing. You see the stat card for the Sycamores, multiple players in 10 digits as Bass gets the and one, but they're still down
Boilermakers, you see the finish there.
GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors, Boiler Up. Purdue Athletics would like to thank and recognize members of the Black and Gold Club who support Purdue Athletics through their sponsorship at the highest level. Black and Gold Club members include Indiana Packers, Molson Coors, Purdue Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Riley Children's Health, State Farm Insurance, Toyota, and Wabash. Each are great partners of Purdue Athletics. Boilermaker women with 2 home games this week. Tomorrow night against top-ranked UCLA, and then Saturday we'll see 25th-ranked Michigan coming. And we've talked a lot about the Bruins, but we haven't talked about Michigan. And Silas Swords and Olivia Olson, 2 of the top freshmen in the conference, and they have helped propel Michigan into the top 25.
Yeah, a young team that doesn't know any better. They go out and compete the way a KBA team would, and you know, they've battled and a team that's going to come in, right? They lost both their games out in California. They play Ohio State Wednesday.
Yep.
You know, so a team that, if Ohio State knocks them off, that's coming off 3 losses, and you know, whatever happens for us, we could be in the same position, and you know, just who's going to be hungrier. Hopefully, it's the good guys.
We've talked a little bit about your recruits in terms of their size, but let's talk specifically. Avery Gordon comes in, and she's had a successful season so far. Yeah, really good. Her team just won a tournament down in Indy. I think she had 31, and I want to say like 8 rebounds or not, but put up 31 points. And you know, someone who's 6'6" and just getting better and better. Got the, you know, her new coach and her team is adjusting to, you know, playing with her, but she catches high, finishes high, and you know, 6'6" is 6'6", and she can play. We saw Kira Reynolds come up with a stat line that was kind of eye-popping. She had a quintuple double, double assists in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals in a game. Yeah. She's going to help you as well. Yeah, like video game numbers, right? Like you know, and all of it, like the 18 rebounds too, I think, in that same game, and it's kind of taken national news, and you know, just has the ability to impact the game at all levels, really on both sides of the floor. I think maybe she had 10 or 11 points that game. She doesn't need to score to impact a game, and you know, we're counting on those two to have big careers for us and really just continue to help us get to where we want to go. John, checking in from Littlestown, Pennsylvania, says he sees a lot of potential in the team if they can cut down some turnovers, which John, I think you've talked about would be nice as well. Would be nice. You know, we actually do pretty good in the half court defensively. We can get our half court defense set, but you know, when we're turning the basketball over and we're just not smart, or you know, sometimes for us too, like taking a bad shot at the rim just leads to leak outs and transition stuff, and you know, some of the teams we're playing, we just can't match them in transition. You know, we've got to do a better job of giving ourselves in the half court to get stops. Next week you go on the road, so we'll be in the air when Purdue Basketball Live runs next week. Oregon and Washington, 2 teams that, again, very good. Washington will be retiring Kelsey Plum's jersey, so you know they're going to have a big crowd. It just gets tougher. The challenge is there in the Big Ten. If you want to play against the best, this is the place for you. Come to the Big Ten, right? We go out there. We go Oregon first, right? Washington, we're flipped with the guys. You know, I think I heard Kelly Graves say in Big Ten, like, that I don't think they have the trees on the court in Oregon, right? So I think one of his comments was like he had a lot of freshmen getting lost in the forest. So luckily we won't be getting lost in the forest on the floor there, and hopefully we can find a way to, you know, adjust to the time zone and you know, put whatever game plan we can and give ourselves a chance to win. Well, the other thing about that, though, it's a road trip and you're out there for about a week, so another opportunity for this team to bond and really trying to kind of gel together early in the Big Ten season. Yeah, it's tough too. It's the first week of classes, right? Like so we have some, you know, we'll be out there and miss the first week of classes. Luckily for us, professors are here great. Our kids will do a good job of communicating with them, saying we're going to miss the whole week, but you know, excited for the opportunity. Obviously, we've got a big one tomorrow, and you know, we'll make sure we play as hard as we possibly can. All right, good luck tomorrow night. Keep the chin up, and let's keep fighting. Yes, sir. All right, final segment of Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO, is coming up on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Braden Smith on the drive.
Well, good job by Leach getting back in front of Smith.
Smith fading away and hitting.
He's playing at the best pace that I've seen him play his career, Dave. He was coming in today. Love seeing his presence here in Mackey.
It's Colvin into the game for the first time for the Boilers. Lawyer on the drive and the foul. Here's Smith driving on Barnheiser. Tries to get him in the air, eventually does. Now drops it off to First, who throws it down. Barnheiser.
Ooh, Barnheiser's mouth got busted. He's got a retainer because he lost a couple teeth. You know, just to add to what, oh man, that's gonna drive Coach Collins crazy. This comes from Martinelli, looks like he's ready. He gets just a brush screen. It wasn't really a big screen. He's not gonna back down though.
Three out of the corner, C.J. Cox.
Barely even got shots up on the rim.
That's what's impressed me so much. Purdue's been great on the offensive end, but it's this end of the court. It's that defensive end. As Sheriff loses it on the way up. Now Colvin the other way, and Toffman-Red throws it down.
Beats almost everyone up the floor. The hustle.
During COVID, he was not able to see him play live. Pretty amazing what he has become, a very lightly recruited player. That one's blocked away by Colvin, showing off his athleticism.
Looked like Barnheiser was wide open. All of a sudden, number 5 comes in. Not this time, Brooks.
You understand why Colvin this year, just the false teeth that he had put in.
Oh, man.
And Braden Smith continuing to kick the cats in the mouth. He will go to the free throw line.
Final segment of Purdue Basketball Live. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. Again, we do have a Purdue Basketball Live show next week. It'll be January 13th. It'll be at 6:30 at the normal time. And then we'll be back on again the following week with both the men's and women's teams represented. The Boilermaker men this week will be playing on the road on Thursday night against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. That's a 6 o'clock tip with a 5 o'clock airtime, and then Purdue comes back home to Mackey Arena to play on Sunday. That'll be a noon tip, and Rob Blackman and Bobby Riddell will have the call starting at 11. The women's team has a couple of home games playing both ends of the spectrum of the top 25. Top-ranked UCLA coming in tomorrow. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip at Mackey, and then Saturday, 25th-ranked Michigan will be in town for a 2 o'clock tip-off against Purdue. The Boilermakers then will hit the road, as will the men next week, both playing at Oregon and at Washington. Thanks tonight to our engineer, Wes Scott, our producer, Connor Bunchankowski. I think I got that wrong, but it's close. The video produced tonight by McCarty Cummings. Again, we'll have a Purdue Football Live show coming up February 6th, so don't forget that. For Katie and for Matt, this is Tim Newton. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to Purdue Basketball Live on the Purdue Global Sports Network.